Dallas has just been on a tear. I believe we can attribute that to Jason Robertson. Also, Jake Ottinger, who's really stepped in.
Yeah, so we can compare a rookie QB to a toddler. Hayward's absence for this game will be significant, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game turns into a blowout as of late.
The Golden Knights just can't pull it. I really think the Avalanche are determined this year.
They made so many moves and grabbed so many guys that they have to win a championship or at least make the finals. They were on our championship and bust.
The same self, the only year he won an MVP was the year he cheated, which really should put something against that MVP. But
Yeah, and as a Cowboys fan, I have learned how dangerously good Aaron Rodgers has been with he can just thread a pass.
Hello, I am Ruby Ackerman, and you are listening to Outsider's Opinion with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by our MVP finalist, Austin.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate the love. Today's an interesting episode. We are most of the way through the NBA season. We're about 75% in, getting close to playoff time, which always starts in April. But or late March. NBA Panic Index. I think this is going to be a little bit different than how we did the MLB one, even though we had the same tiers, because can't get better. I reserved only to Astros, but in this instance, I'm not reserving for the Warriors because the season's already started. So you can't get better when the season's already started. So I can just start it out with can't get better, and then we'll go down the list. I only have 3: Kings, Knicks, Nuggets. The Knicks have been on a long win streak. I know they lost the other day, but they're looking to improve upon a year last year that was very unsuccessful after being fourth in the East. Now they're fifth, but they're, like I said, they won a lot of games. The trade for Josh Hart looks good. The pickup of Jalen Brunson looks good. For the Nuggets, they're the 1 seed, and they're the 1 seed by a large margin. They are currently 7 games out of the 2 seed. 7 games. And that 2 seed right now is the Kings, which is why I have them here. They are very, very good this year. They're 12 games above 500. And for all 3 of these teams that have either not won in the Kings and Nuggets sense, or I think the Kings won as the Rochester Royals back in the 60s, but I'm not going to count that. And then the Knicks won back in 73. So all 3 of these teams have not won in a very long time, if they've won at all. And they can't get better.
So I think we're going to disagree heavily on our list because I don't think you listed any of the teams that I have in my can't get better. I only have 2, and I kind of viewed it on like the expectations or what this team has done or didn't do, and so I factored expectations into the panic button, but can't get better. I just put the Bucks and Celtics. The Bucks just lost their win streak, and the Celtics have just been incredible. I know they've been bad of late, or a little not as good as late. But when I view the Bucks and Celtics, I view them as title contenders. And when I see them as title contenders, I'm like, are they really missing any pieces? And I'm like, no. And like, they've shown moments where I think they can be title contenders. So that's why they're on my can't get much better. Because like, the main goal is to get a title.
Well, let me ask you this. So the Nuggets right now have a better record than the Celtics. Is there a reason why you left the Nuggets off?
Yes, and I'll get to that when I get to the Nuggets, because I kind of view it on expectations, because like the Bucks and Celtics both have made finals appearances, or maybe I'll just say where I have the Nuggets now.
Sure.
So I have the Nuggets in the find the panic button.
Wow.
Just because, to me, this is like, you have to show me in the playoffs.
The Nuggets have made a Western Conference Finals. Last year, they didn't have Jamal Murray or MPJ, and Jokic still averaged 30, 11, and 6.
That's true. But it's just, to me...
Let me ask you this. Why do you not have the Mavs in find the panic button? Because the Mavs have done the same thing as Jokic
Mavs
throughout his
are
career.
higher.
Higher in what sense?
They're in the panic button mode.
Oh, wow. Okay, well then I guess I have no qualms. You and I did do this a lot differently. Uh, if we're talking about expectations, though, I don't know what else you could have expected from the Nuggets being so much higher than anyone else in the West. Like they are clearly going to be the one seed. Like they could lose 7 straight games, and the Kings or Grizzlies, who are both tied at 2, could win 7 straight games, and they would still have the one seed. So
Yeah, my expectations with the Nuggets are in the playoffs. Like they need to. To me, I almost want them in the title this year because Jokic, I think, should get his third MVP in a row.
I mean,
I'm
average a
not.
triple double as a center is something that's unheard of. So yeah, he
So I
definitely
would say he would get the third. Like he should get his third MVP, which would be 3 in a row, which is incredible. I just need to see him at least make the Western Conference Finals or make the finals. If he doesn't, even if it's
Here's my problem with basketball is that you can average 30, 11, and 6 and still it be your fault you didn't make it. So, look, do I expect him to play amazing? Yes. Yes. If we're talking about his personal performance, yes. And eventually, yes, your team does have to do well, and that's a big part of you. But I mean, it takes a while sometimes for a guy to get to the finals. It takes.
I know. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like
No,
I
no,
know
it's all
it
good.
takes some time, but I feel we're getting to the end. Like Jokic, you gotta do something. Like
But he's already made a Western Conference final. And like I said last year, as a depleted Nuggets team against the champion who eventually won it, he was averaging a 30, 11, and 6. There's
that's a
only
good
so
point.
much one person can do.
Yeah.
And
Um.
if you think about it, most had to build pseudo super teams to get to their first championship. If we talk about a guy like Kevin Garnett with the Timberwolves, he made a Western Conference final in his MVP year. And I understand he didn't have 3 MVPs, but I don't think that takes away from the fact that he was the only person on the Timberwolves team. He wasn't the only person. They had some other good players, like Wally Back or Sam Cassell or other guys. But the entire team has to play well. And while Garnett struggled sometimes in the playoffs and had to build a super team to get to the finals, Jokic hasn't done that. So I do want to give him credit for the fact that he stayed with the team. Everyone they have that is a major piece of that team has been on that team for their entire career.
That's true. Which I just thought of this point now. If the Nuggets do not do well in this regular season,
You mean postseason?
or I mean postseason, yeah, because my bad. But I think you have to make changes, correct?
Big changes, yes.
So that's why I was like, you kind of got to find the panic button. Like, okay, we've tried it. We thought it was going to work, and like I think it's going to work for the
But the thing is,
Nuggets.
this is their first year healthy with MPJ and Aaron Gordon. I think they're a very dangerous team, and I think they're going to make a good playoff run if everyone stays healthy. But
Me too.
we, I, I understand your ranking. But mine
Okay,
just can't get better because the Nuggets. We've never seen the Nuggets this good.
that's
This is
fair.
it's for Nuggets fans. You've never seen the Nuggets this good. I think can't get better.
Okay,
But
yeah, that's good.
let's move on to Just Vibe, and I'll let you go first because I went first with Can't Get Better.
Yeah, so I have the Knicks in here too because like I don't view the Knicks as a title contender, but like there's not really much like that you could do. But I think they have pretty good setup for like the offseason. Then I have the Pacers, Pistons, Wizards, Spurs, Nets, Kings, Cavs, Thunder, Jazz.
So you have the Nets as Just Vibing after trading away Kyrie and KD.
But like they have Mikal Bridges, who's
They
playing
don't
really
even have
well,
their first round pick though.
but they have like a bunch of other first round picks.
I wouldn't say a bunch. They have some, yes, but
They have Sixers, right?
that doesn't. It isn't necessarily a good one, and they
I
made
also
some
think
moves.
they have
But
some. My bad.
there you go.
They have some nice tradable pieces that would get them more first round picks or more assets.
We'll see. My Just Vibing is Suns, Thunder, Bucks, Celtics, Cavs, Sixers, Pacers, Magic, Pistons, Warriors, Jazz, Spurs. So I have a
Interesting.
lot of
Okay,
teams and just vibing. Uh,
yeah.
if we can go to there's basically three tiers here. There's true contenders like Suns, Bucks, Celtics, Sixers, maybe Warriors, maybe Cavs. And those guys are just vibing because I believe they're getting ready for the playoffs. They're all top five seeds in their conference. They have playoff experience, at least most of them, besides the Cavs, I guess. But the Cavs are the best defensive team in the league, so I think they're still just vibing. And then there's the other tier that's like they're not terrible, but they're not great, and that's the Thunder, Pacers, Magic, Jazz, and they're just vibing because I think they believe in their future. All of those teams, I think the Magic are trying to make a pseudo playoff run or playoff push. The Pacers have one of the best players in the league right now and are trying to build around him and get better. Thunder, same thing, and same thing with the Jazz now with Laurie. And then my other teams are the Pistons and Spurs, and I think they are having a good rebuild. You're seeing some good play from some guys. You're not losing every game. For the Spurs, they have Keldon Johnson, who's playing very well, and they have some young guys who are starting to step up. So I think all those teams, for some sense of the word, are just fine.
Yeah, I agree. With the Spurs, yeah, they're kind of in the building, and like there are some guys like you mentioned, like where they can find someone. Pistons a little bit too. But yeah, with the other teams like Pacers, you definitely have Halliburton, amazing. Jazz, you have Markkinen, and then they also have a bunch of like other players they can fix on. So yeah, I think we can move on to the on the edge of your seat. I'll let you go first.
So on the edge of my or on the edge of your seat as a fan for that team, I always said my seat because my first team's the Wizards. So they, I am on the edge of my seat as a fan of the Wizards. I like our team. I think our team fully healthy. It's a playoff team, a top eight seed at least, maybe a top six seed. I think we may be better than the Nets. We lost a very close game last night to the Hawks, and later we lost a game before that to the Bucks. That was really close. But my next team is the Nets, mainly because I like their pickups, but I'm not totally sold on their future, and I need to be sold. So that's on the edge of the seat. I'm not truly concerned, but I'm not uh, content with where I am. Next team is the Hornets. The Hornets, bad team, very bad team, but no one really expected them to be this bad. Like maybe you thought, oh, they lose Miles Bridges because of everything that's happened in that situation, but they're still going to be close, or maybe they make the play on as a 10 seed. No, they are just not close, and they are one of the worst teams in the league. But I still believe because of that draft pick, there's a good sense of on the edge of your seat. My next team is the Pelicans. The Pelicans, look, they were one seed to be in the year, but having Zion hurt, that's something that has to be accounted for, and I think that's why it's not lower is because of Zion, but it's also the reason why it's not higher because I believe if he was playing, they'd be a top four seed. My next team is the Trailblazers. I don't know what they want to do, and I think that's why it's on the edge of your seat. It's not time to panic because they're not going to trade Dame, but it's not time to also be content with the way the roster is. And my last team, on the edge of your seat is the Mavs. I know you have the Mavs lower. Well, I had the Wizards lower than you had the Wizards, but I guess as fans of the team, we're always going to have them lower than most people on the panic button because not only do we know the true sense of where fans should be, but we watch that team more than anybody else. For the Mavs, I think they should be on the edge of your seat because there's a lot of time for this team to mesh together. But I would understand them lower.
Yeah. I get what you're saying with the Wizards. I agree with you on the Pelicans, and I have the Suns a little bit higher just because of the KD injury, the grade 2 sprain. Like he might be out for a few weeks. That's what I've read, so I'm not sure. Like that's why I'm on the edge of your seat. Like, oh, is KD going to be fully healthy for the playoffs? But if he is, like, you're
The,
cool.
the reason why it's not, I understand you don't have Mikal, but besides Mikal and Cam Johnson, you already have a team that went to the finals. So you have that experience, and I feel like they could survive a series potentially without KD. It just depends on who they play, I guess. But I think KD will be back for the playoffs and back in time to make a quality impact. Continue.
Yeah, which is why like I kind of have on the middle ground. I also have the Hawks. Like I don't know, with Trey Clippers, same thing. Like, is it gonna work out? Like you're kind of getting close to the end of what was supposed to be a huge window. Raptors, just because they have a lot of free agents this offseason. Magic, like you have Paolo, but like Jonathan Isaac just went down again. Trailblazers, you also said that. Hornets, same thing. Injuries are really hurting LaMelo Ball. I was expecting a huge season for them, but it hasn't worked out. Then you have the Grizzlies, where you just have no idea what's happening with Ja, but you have other young players or other nice players. But that's what I got. So we'll go to find the panic button.
Yep.
So my list is the Lakers, Warriors, Nuggets, and I've already explained them, and then the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are on this list mostly because of the trade with Rudy Gobert. And they also traded D'Lo. And we've seen how like two bigs together really worked out for the Cavs. They have the number one defense, like you said. But then that hasn't worked out for the Timberwolves. But the Lakers, I haven't find the panic button because like, is LeBron going to stay? Warriors, I'm a little worried about the Steph injury. And that's why I'm just like, know where the panic button is. And Draymond could leave this offseason. You just don't know. So it's kind of that last ride with them.
Yeah, I agree on two of those teams, the Lakers and the Timberwolves. I agree on both. I'll touch very lightly on those. Timberwolves, I agree. The reason why I didn't have them in alarm is sounded. They're a half game out of the 5 seed. So they go on a little bit of a win streak and at a 5 seed. The Lakers I have because the LeBron injury and the fact that AD right now is their star player, and I don't trust him, not because he's not good, but because of his injury history. My last 3 teams in the Find the Panic button are the Heat, Grizzlies, and Clippers. Clippers, I don't have them lower because I like the trades they made. I love the pickup from Mason Plumlee. I love the pickup of Bones Highland. And I think that kind of eases me if I was a fan of them. The Grizzlies, they're here because I know this is lower. You had them on the edge of your seat, I believe. But Find the Panic button. Brandon Clark out for the year. Steven Adams been hurt for a while. Jaren Jackson, injury-prone player. Ja, what is he doing? Dylan Brooks just got suspended for having too many techs. It's falling apart. The team is tied for the 2 seed, been the 2 seed for a very long time, was the 1 seed before. I really don't know what to do if I'm a Grizzlies fan. The only reason why I don't have them lower on alarm as sounded is because of the fact that they are the 2 seed. And then my last team, the Heat, again, I don't have them lower because of Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, and I like to pick up a Kevin Love, but this season's self-combusted, and them being a 6 seed, a 7 seed. That's right, they're a 7 seed. They're going to have to play in the play-in. They may miss the playoffs because of it. I would be concerned.
Yeah, I agree with your picks, and I get why you have the Grizzlies higher. I think that's fair. With the alarm has gone off, I have the Heat, and the alarm has gone off just because you don't know how much longer Jimmy Butler is going to play at this level, and just it doesn't seem like the moves that they made have worked out with what they thought. Like, I think, is Kyle Lowry hurt? Like, I watched
Yes,
the Hawks.
yeah, see a knee injury, yeah.
That trade hasn't really worked out. Bam is still good, but Tyler Hero, I don't think he's reached what they thought he would. And then they just don't see. It's very different from that team that went to the finals. So that's why I kind of had the panic button. Like, we need to reshuffle stuff. Chicago, I have hidden the panic button because like this looked like a good window. Lonzo Ball, the doctor has no idea what's happening. He's gonna get his 3rd surgery, so he's gonna have to recover again. I have Houston just because it doesn't seem like they're gonna exit the rebuild. Like, seems they're at the beginning when they started this
I
2
just want
years
to
ago.
sorry to interrupt.
No.
I do want to mention a very interesting stat. If the Rockets get the worst record in the league this year, they're the first team in NBA history to three-peat the worst record in the league.
It's great. Appreciate that. That's why you're the MVP finalist. Then I have the Sixers alarm going off just because, like, is James Harden going to leave? Like, how much can Embiid play at this level? And then I have the Mavs here just because, to me, that Kyrie trade changes everything. Because when they made the trade for Kyrie, I'm like, okay, we need to make it to the second round and put up a decent fight. Just because it could be a rental, and if you don't go far with a rental, their defense has been terrible. And can I go back to my first Jason Kidd thought of not being a good coach?
Sure.
Or I know I
Sure.
retract that, but I just don't get what he's doing. Like his idea of a great defense now is just outscoring the team, which I get you don't have defenders, but you at least have to do something. And I don't know if you saw that Pelicans game last night.
I did not. I was watching college basketball to prepare for our upcoming
That's
bracket.
that's fair. I caught a little bit at the end. I was like, oh man, we can maybe get Pelicans. Luke is apparently out. Apparently has an injury,
I didn't hear
and
about that. He had an MRI. Yeah.
they started getting closer and they started making buckets, but Kyrie missed a shot, which is fair. Like you're gonna miss shots, but then CJ McCollum just went off, and they just don't have defense. And I don't get the players Jason Kidd's picking. Like I would play Jaden Hardy as much as possible. Did you see that dunk?
I did not.
He was, I think Jackson Hayes was guarding him, and he's just dribbling, and it looked like he was gonna go for a layup, but then he dunked it, and I'm like, damn, that's pretty awesome. But he hasn't played him. Josh Green has struggled. So I do think if Kyrie leaves this summer, which I don't know, Kyrie can, it's impossible to know what
Kyrie's
Kyrie's
Kyrie.
doing.
I don't think anyone knows
Yeah.
what he's thinking.
Yeah, that's very true. So if he leaves, then you gave up a first round pick, a second round pick, a great defender in my opinion in Dorian Finney-Smith, and I think
And
Dinwiddie is
Spencer.
good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Spencer. I think he's a good point guard. I don't think he's a starting point guard for a championship team, but I think he's a valuable piece.
Yeah.
So then they've kind of reset where well, we got a number one dude. Kind of need a bench and a second star player now, which they didn't have before, but to me they had some nice pieces for a championship team.
Yeah, if the Mavs aren't careful, they will lose Christian Wood and Kyrie in the same offseason, and that would be a very steep hole to put themselves in. And I'll quickly list my alarm has sounded today. Kevin is a busy man, so we're a little bit on the time. But my four teams, two of them are the same, are the Rockets and Bulls. So I won't touch on those. I already mentioned my Rockets that I was going to mention anyway, so got that out. And then the Bulls. No one knows what's happening. My last two teams, Hawks and Raptors. Raptors, we thought they were going to make some trades, and they did, but for a player that they now have in Jakob Poeltl. So I thought that was a very interesting trade. And then the Hawks are a team that's already fired their head coach, and if you've already fired your head coach, you're an alarm has sounded. Especially for a team that many people thought was going to be good and has made an Eastern Conference final not that long ago, back in 2020. So there is a lot to be concerned with.
Yeah, I think that's very fair, and yeah, appreciate it. Great, great points. I like that Houston stat. That's all we got. Make sure to check out other videos. Also, make sure to check out applicants. If you're not following the Instagram, the contract has been written. The contract just has to be delivered, which will be coming up soon. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.